pressure setting?
It's the one with the weight.
Yeah.
Turn off just the manual. Now you'll hear it. Now the pressure's off. Go back home and just run one sheet.
One sheet.
Yeah. Changed it a little bit, so we'll want to patch. Sorry,
Where's on the other side?
this way. So, and you don't have to mark it if you don't want. I just get used to doing it that way. I thought it was this end. Was it that end? That's what I was thinking. Oh, it's on the bottom side, isn't it? Just makes it easier when you're patching to know exactly where you need to go.
And these two again. We patched here.
Yep.
And this one again.
But see, that's where it meets, and you can patch it again, but yeah, see, usually these are the ones, and I would go ahead and hit this one, just because I know usually that's where you're going to have some problems.
Put a little bit up there.
And I think I'd leave that one, because you want it to kind of hold a little bit, so that when it comes through, it doesn't just fall out, but you can't really have it rip, or then your box looks like that, right? You know? So... you got to do it twice. So buzzer, and then start. Yep. Now it's ready. The top one is the chase, bottom one is the plat. Nope, you want the top one. Now let it drop.
Yeah. Has it delayed?
Yeah. There it goes.
That's how you guys adjust it.
I think it's just the software. Yeah, somebody changed something.
Was just
Yep. There you go. Did it come out there a little easier?
Oh, much better.
Good.
Yes.
I'll make it dry.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
It's like methyl ketone. That or acetone. Got a ketone in it.
det var han ju.
Just a wrinkle? Yep. Put a wrinkle in my tape.
Double.
All the way.
What's that?
This side.
345? Is that right? Okay.
Okay. Inch out. Kolla in ta
چیزی که کم داریم
اینجوری اون یه چیز خوب داشت که دیسپلی شنش هم روش بود. خب دیگه اینجا که دیگه تموم
Be done. Got them all?
like it. خب ببخشید کوچیکه small. Am I correct? This side?
Yes. Yep.
Cool. خودشو تمیز کن.
نمیخواد الان کولر روشن کن
Yep. It's got kind of a spring to it, so when you push it in, it will move a little bit. When you hit that button, it lifts up, and then it latches. That's why it's a little funky in there. You gotta speed it up. You're pulling multiple.
Sorry, what?
You're pulling multiple sheets. It's going really slow
Why it's going?
because you didn't speed it up,
Oh,
and that's why you pulled more than one sheet because it didn't sound right to you because it was going too slow.
quick question. Where would we speed up?
Right here.
Okay. We have to
That gets
speed.
you to 2,500. At 1,000, it's going slow motion trying to feed, and it usually doesn't feed real well. That's pretty good.
Really easy.
I think that looks good.
But is that okay to loosen it up like this? Isn't
Yeah,
that seem-
you have to watch. The thing is, you got to watch it so it'll come onto this belt, and basically the gripper runs and stops, lets go, and that belt's spinning. So the sheet will stop and then take off. But when it stops, if you see this box move, then you got to do something. Sometimes you just put a little nick, maybe in a glue flap, to hold it. But usually a box that has these type of pieces, it's
When you
going to
mention-
stay.
Okay. No. We didn't have that before.
No, wait. Got what I'm saying? Definitely needs it. It almost needs it like all the way this half.
The two before doesn't have the same color.
The ones before we
But we
did.
patched here,
Okay.
Oh, Here.
I see.
so it takes a little bit off of that. That's why even though you patch and you're like, I should be good, you always run another one because it may, usually it's like if you patch here, then it may be a little tight over here. So you gotta watch. The thing you don't wanna do is just go and patch everything because that doesn't work. You're trying to level it, right? So you only wanna put patch to level it out, not raise it up. Okay?
Your turn. Whose turn? Your turn.
You go ahead.
اون نیست. اون نیست.
بالایی شد.
بالایی.
نه همین پایینی.
بزن. خب. بعدش هم میخوای قطع کن. بعد اینجا.
خودش.
خب. میخوای نشون بدم. خب.
اینجا
بزن. نه
Well, it's like, it's
اونو باید بزنی
like, I know what it is.
خب
I wish
یه
you
بار
could
دیگه
just turn that function off. I don't like that it has
باید
to be
سب
at
کنی
least a-
اون شل کنه
That makes no sense. I should be able to zero it.
حالا اون آزاد شد با این بالاییه آفرین ولش کن پایینیه رو کاری نداریم دیگه
این چیزا رو
بکش خب بکش
What is it?
حالا خوبه دیگه اول از اونجا یه دونه بردار
Use soap. Bar of soap works really good. Which used to you'd get them at the hotel and just grab one from the hotel. Yeah, that's still there. Oh, that's right. It's beeswax.
Where's the blue
Oh, the shell had it on it, but oh, it's just this half, right?
Donated by the greater Gary.
There you go. Just what you need.
That's cool. You got it from hotel?
Yep.
Okay. Let's
Slick
see.
it up, and it smells good.
Yeah.
You don't need a ton of it. Just a light.
اینجا بود یا اینجا هم بود
Yep.
Yeah.
باریکتره سمت داشمون
باریکتره نداره
نه
اون باریک‌تره.
قسمتش کمتره اون قسمتش بیشتره آها اینو داره
See if that's any better.
درسته
You don't have to. I get them out of my way because I always hit my ribs on them, but
اوکی. میتونی اول آره
you gotta lock it. Yep.
Then this one
لاکت یپ بعد میتونی بالاییه رو بزنی اوکی ها
Go home.
نه هوم
Yep.
go home
Now start
بعد
it.
استارت اون بعدش
It's
باد
speed. Yep. Just hit that. Hit the button. Yep. That'll automatically go to 20.
one
Don't think you quite got one. There.
دستت رفت تو
Light beams. If you break these curtains, it'll stop it. Again, if you're not running sheets full on, you're not going to hurt anything. But if you've got sheets running and you stop it like that, it could stop under pressure, which is a bad day.
bad day
Yeah.
what would cost
It's not like total damage, but it may put you down for a day or two.
Trying to get it off.
Yeah. 'cause you gotta unlock
okay to take it off the press shit
Yeah, because you're hitting at 31 tons. So it hits, it's got 31 tons of pressure, and you stop it there. You're not just going to crank it around and get it off of there. There's actually heaters you put on those big pole arms, and you heat those pole arms until they stretch enough that you can back it off by hand. It's a bad day. Again, probably not going to damage the press, but you're down for a little while. And that's something we might want to talk about. You guys can buy your own heaters if you want. They're not cheap, but we don't, they don't come with the machine. It's a service set. But for where you're at, it might be something you want to think about.
And I'm going to say this, guys, it's also,
What is DieCut?
we have yet to get it stuck that way.
Yeah, it's not real common.
They had it 5 or 6 years now, going on 5 or 6 years, and we haven't had it happen. But we know that it can happen.
And what type of heater are we talking about?
It's just a flat heater with coils in it, 220. So it'll heat them arms up after about 5-6 hours. They'll be starting to get red. Paint will peel off of them. It's quite a bit of heat. Again, it's not, like I said, you basically have to be unlucky for it to happen. Whether it's the light barriers, the E-stop, same thing with the platinum. I've only seen it once or twice, but it can happen. My point to you is for where you're at, and Mark's probably the closest one to you. So,
And I'm a minister.
Okay.
At least a day.
but honestly, what I would suggest is if it does happen, have one of us come out, show you how to mount them and use them, and then buy you a set, or we'll bring your set, whatever. We do stock them. Just because ours, we have a service set for us, and once you use them 5 or 6, 10 times, whatever, they get brittle and they're no good. You gotta have another set. So we always keep extras on hand. All right. So now that we're cutting good, we will go back into our die change screen and bring this trolley down.
Onları lose mukana.
Fun starts now.
The way that you mentioned seems like opposite. Is that opposite? What's going on? Is that gonna be too much
So,
fun?
Now, what we got to do is you bring that sheet and you got to stop it and run it until the gripper stops, which is at 269 degrees. That's the other degree that was on that tape. That's the end of the gripper travel. When the gripper's at its end of its travel, before it opens, you set this roller to the end of the sheet so that as soon as the gripper opens, the roller takes the sheet. Okay? So usually what I do is I turn my pressure down so that it isn't a cut sheet all the way. Oh, it wasn't between them. It's not in that groove.
Stop it for a second.
It's rubbing. So the finger, you can see they've actually had to do it a couple
Okay.
times.
Perfect. Now, if you run it, I believe it should be okay.
Flip it the other way, then raise it. Now flip it again.
I just moved this.
It's this one right here.
Just got to make sure if you bend it down too much, then it rubs the belt.
Yeah. I think it's this one. Let's try it now. Okay.
That sounds much better. All right, so I'll turn my pressure down to like 0.1. We were at 19. Because if you cut the box and then you try to stop it and jog it, stuff starts getting crazy and moving. So I just want the impression of it so I can set my wheels, but not cut through. So what I do is I start it and I run a sheet. You'll get used to the sounds of it, but up front there's a dump that makes a little bit of a sound when one sheet comes. It hits under pressure. When you hear that thump, You wait about a half a second and stop it. It'll bring it about halfway out and stop. If you wait too long, it'll just feed it right on through. That dump, pressure, and stop it. That way it's not too far out. So now
But it is still under the pressure of the ton.
No, the pressure's off. So that's why you give it that half second. You hear thump and you let it get up and stop.
And you'll see the sheet start coming out.
Right. So then we can go in here and we're going to tell it 269 degrees. That's where I want it to run to. And that way it'll bring the sheet all the way out, but not open. Is it not there? Oh, the roller. It's like, it should be in. Yeah. So then we have a bolt here and one here. I'm just loosening the attachment of these two rails. And then I can move my roller back and forth. So I want my roller to be just about where that line is. This scribe line right here.
Can I?
You can go for further on.
Okay.
See it?
Right there on the end of the shaft. Yep.
So then I will lock this one. And then I usually try to make sure it's straight across. Because this thing will move
Because if it's crooked,
a little bit on
then it
the
makes
kilter.
it like twist
So I
the
try
sheet.
to make sure it's
That's why
straight
you want
all the
square.
way across. And then I'll tighten this side. So what you're going to look for is if that sheet comes in and this roller's too close, you'll see that sheet buckle and it'll knock your box out. So if it buckles, it's too close. And on the other hand, if you're too far away, it'll let go of the sheet and the sheet will just sit there and hover for a minute before it takes off. That won't work because then the next sheet jams into it coming in. It's got to be a smooth transition where the sheet comes in and then takes off. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be pretty close. Okay.
And all your timing is going to be tied to these. And when it sees that sheet, there's an eye right here. That sheet would go past that eye, and that's the one that tells all the timing to start here.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to jog it until it lets go of my sheet. So now the sheet's free. So now I'll run it by hand. And you got to kind of push down on the sheet to get it started. And guide it in. You can see your cut here. Right? Yeah. So I get it out here where I can kind of see what's going on with it. And then our other cut is right there. So my stationaries are over here. So the idea is just to guide the lead edge of the sheet down and then get out of the way so that the product can come out. So we're always going to have, we have two mechanicals. They don't go up and down. They're just always down. Those are always going to be your edge. Okay? Every now and then if you have a really weird setup, you may not use these so that on the edge you can come up at the end because, you know, if you're really tight and you need to get out of the way, you can't use these. But 99.9% of the time you're going to use these. So we'll set these to the edges.
Edges of the painting.
Edges
of
of
the
the
sheet,
sheet.
off of the cut. Everybody does it a little bit differently. I like to just loosen it, unless I know, which for you, the sheet size is going to be the same. Good Lord. Is there a 3 up there? Maybe it's right here. quite that tight. But, yeah, snug is good. So if I'm doing something that's difficult, this is how I go about it, or something new. But with you guys having the same sheet size, the main thing is you don't want a big gap like that. So that sheet's going to want to pucker, and then it's going to catch and jam. You want them to be fairly evenly spaced, and that's, to me, the main thing. The only time you adjust is just like we've got the handle here and the handles here. If you want to try to knock that out with a roller, to punch that out, then you got to line your roller up with this, and you got to adjust your other rollers too, though. There might be a kid in here. So we have a small roller that isn't we call these pizza rollers because they look like a pizza cutter.
Yeah.
But in here we've got these small white rollers that you can replace. So then that you can mount on here, take this off, mount that on there, and then you can smack that and knock it out. Because the air blast is not really, yeah, yours is on the front end. So the air blast on this one is the old design, it's up front, and I don't know, you can ask Mark. My opinion is it really doesn't work, but
It depends on what it is.
Like for example, those handle portion, would that work on
Those
those?
are going to be, because of the direction they're turned, it's not going to work real good for you because you're going to have to open up such a wide gap into the vacuum tunnel that the lead into that sheet's going to want to duck into that. So, not really.
so
Not really good.
it's up to you. But what we have done, because the new models, the air blast is back there. It works a lot better. But we also make a ski that fits in here that will blast things out right here. That's your best option, in my opinion. You have the air nozzles down here. I don't think you have the vacuum unit. I think the hose is in here, but not the vacuum.
Yeah, you need a vacuum.
So you have to hook up like a dust collector, and it connects to this tube here. So it hangs out the machine, and you got vacuum pulling down back there. And see how those segments, you can move those segments so you got an opening, you blast air, and then the vacuum's supposed to draw it out. The problem I have with this design is to get enough vacuum to actually draw things out, it stops the sheet. The sheet crosses that vacuum and slows down. And it messes with everything on the
Yeah,
sheet.
the DieCut is loose, so you can scrap it. It's so loose that there's enough vacuum there that it'll stop it.
So to me, to get the right amount of vacuum, the right amount of air, and get it to work efficiently, which for me is 85% or better, it's very rare. Maybe a like sombrero hanger hole. Yeah, okay, maybe I can do that.
Turn the right direction.
Yes, but these, your best option is that white roller trying to knock it out.
Okay.
Or if you want me to, I can send you some pictures of the skis I'm talking about. And then you
These
can,
are in line. You might be able to get with a white roller.
you can time it. But more than likely they're going to be in there and you're going to have to hand strap them. Would be my guess.
Those white ones we try, and
Maybe it'll. Yeah, we can try them, but again, the handle's really facing the wrong way. If it was lengthways, it would be definite. But short ways, it's a little tougher. On the older models, you don't have quite the accuracy as you do the new ones, so it makes it a little bit more challenging. And it doesn't have to be exact. I'm a little bit anal, but your spacing is to me, probably the most important thing, because if you got too much spacing when it tries to guide it down, it's going to clunker. So you don't want that. And then the other thing is to try to line up anything you're going to try to knock out. So for today, all we're going to do is try to strip it. Because this weight of paper, it's a 50-50 shot that it's going to run smoothly, honestly. Okay.
Let's see.
So, we will, and there's things we can do to help that, but it's just part of the design. So then I'll go through here. I don't care about these because I can't control them. Only these 6 are programmable. So I'll come through here and say, okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it is, this one controls 1, this is the controller. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you swap them around or move things around, you can get them out of order.
You're hooking them top to top, bottom to bottom.
Yes. One's up, one's down. It's got to be right.
You can invert them over there. If it's crisscross and you're trying to invert, you can chase your tail for a while to figure out
Why
it's doing that.
not doing things right. So now, come back here. What I do with something? Okay, so now on this controller, we come in here. This unit right here, it shows the pieces. That's to represent the stripping unit. We'll go in there. And right now, it doesn't have anything programmed. So if I go to job, I have setup. That's, if I go to setup, load it, and I always do everything twice on this screen. This is what it's going to pull up, your setup. So this is where I always go to start a job. Because once you program numbers in here, you can override it and change it without changing the job saved. But it just gets confusing when there's a bunch of different numbers in here. So for me, it's easier just start with a clean slate. So the first thing we need to know is the sheet length. So we're going to measure the sheet. And yours will be easy because it's always 750, we'll call it. So we'll go in here. Tell it it's 750.
That's the size of the sheet.
That's the length of the sheet. That's this picture. So then we'll come in here and measure. You know, you're gonna have to come up at least 10 from the cut, unless if you're right on the 20 mark, you're just gonna have to go to 20 and come out of the way. But if I've got plenty, just like this one, I've got plenty, so I'll go to like 110. And then this one, I'm gonna go to maybe 80. And sometimes I'll just make them all the same because these are shorter. These are gonna be like 35. So sometimes if I'm in a hurry and I think it's gonna work just fine, I'll just make all of them 35, make the end the same and be done. Right. So we'll say 35. Yeah. And then this one will go
80.
I don't know with this one.
I'm gonna have to move it. This is goes.
Yeah, we'll just call it 50. And this one, we'll just make it 110 like the other one. So once you make, so they start down to guide the sheet into the white roller to get it started. So it'll guide the sheet, and then you gotta get out of the way for the box. And then your next move is down past the box. So you measure from your last move, not the edge of the sheet. And you want to try to kind of stay in line with your line so that you know that roller is going to hit right in here. So I'm just going to say 590. So it's going to go 110, come up. It's going to go 590, come down. All moves have to be even numbers. Not even numbers here, but 2, 4, 6 moves. You can't go up, down, up, and then that's it. It's always going to start finish where it started, which is down.
It starts down and finishes.
So you're either going to have 2 moves, 4 moves, 6 moves. I always cheat it by about 10. So I'll make it, is that right, 640? All right, and then this one, 680. This one's probably the same. 680.
But this is where if you know your die numbers and stuff, you can go and type with the die number.
Oh.
That way you know, regardless of what's printed on it. you know it's that die
665.
number.
Die number, we can put the number.
Okay. Get that back to you, or it'll be on the floor. So I'll go in here and I'll program 110 and then 590. That does 1. Okay. So when it's highlighted tan, it starts down. If you happen to hit that button and turn it blue, it's going to start up, and then it's going to go down here and then up here. So it'll be backwards of what you want. It's nice, so if you got a small sheet, you're not using 6, you just turn it blue, don't put any numbers in, it just stays up out of your way. But generally, they're going to be on to start down, especially on a lighter sheet. So then we'll go 80
to 640.
and 35,
680.
680,
Again, 35.
35,
680. 50.
665.
Yep.
110. 60.
Okay, so now the moves to get it out are programmed. So if we go to this next page, now I can check all of my belts. So you've got 1 is the trolley, this white belt is 2, this stacker belt is 3, de-nesting rollers are 4, shredders 5, exit belt is 6. So generally,
What's the new belt?
90%, it doesn't have a blue belt, but it's part of the shredder. 90% of the time, the only 2 you want to change is this one and this one, 2 and 4. 3 you can play with, but it runs so slow, it's only going to make a minimal difference, but you will play with it some. So, but usually the trolley, the shredder, and the exit belt, I just leave at 100. Because if you speed the shredder up or slow it down, it's going to change how that shell moves, and it can cause you problems. And the same with the trolley belt, because it's supposed to match the machine. Now I will say I have some machines that are older and worn, and I have to run that belt at 105 or 108 to make it account for the loss of speed because of age to match the machine. And usually you can tell because the gripper will come in and the sheet will, it always stops before it takes off, but it's like it just doesn't travel out of the way before the next sheet's coming in crashing. Then you got to speed it up a little bit. But I think this one's fine for the time being. That's belt 1, the green belt. So this might make it easier. So that's 1.
He can make it run.
The white one is 2.
Yeah. So then
This one is 3,
This is
and
2.
this one is 4,
right, that's 3.
and this is 4,
That's 4.
and the bottom one is 5,
5, the shredder,
and
and then 6 is the extra.
oh, this one is 7.
Oh, no. All right, so generally, if I have more than one piece on here and they're close together, like if you have 2 or 4 or how many ever boxes and they're like really close, then I will speed 2 and 4 up. Like this has 110. So then as it comes out of here, it gets a little more separation. It hits here, it gets a little more separation. But with one box, there's no need. So I'll make that 100%. Yep. The only time that may change is if, to help it strip out of the shell, if you need to speed something up, it generally in one box, everything you need in one box. And then anytime you want those rollers down, remember how I said they were really tight? Over time that, it'll spread the bracket and they don't work properly. So in the beginning, I tell a lot of guys when you're first starting, after you set everything, you can test each roller individually.
If it is too tight, it won't work, yeah?
Yep, just like that. Actually, my finger just wasn't working. But they'll stick. And then you know you got it, you just back just a little bit usually and it works fine. Yep, it's just you'll spread that bracket and puts that piston in a bind and it won't work. You also have, this turns on that air blast that we were talking about. Mm-hmm. So if this is on, this is testing actually, but if this is on, then every sheet that comes through it blasts air to blow out your pieces.
And it's not a time blast.
No,
It's
it's the whole sheet.
all the time.
That's why it doesn't work very well, part of it.
Should it off?
Yeah,
Actually, we wouldn't use it. Apparently, it's not working. Thus, we will just.
yeah. Well, and like I said, there's certain stuff you can. You know, if you've got a 20 or 24 point box that has a hanger hole, it usually will do it. But the lighter stuff and the bigger stuff.
But we don't have even the vacuum for it.
Well, you don't have the vacuum. You have the hose for the vacuum, and you have the nozzles for the air blast. All you got to do is buy a
vacuum,
either
dust
vacuum
collector.
or a dust collector or whatever, right?
Yeah, the one that's got the big bag on it and stuff like you use for woodworking.
Isn't there a big
Same
hose
thing.
in here?
There isn't a big one. Yeah.
No, it's in there. So that hose and that damper is what connects. So you connect the hose to there, and then that damper, you have a window that you can release, vacuum, or increase. So you gotta lift the back part of it up. There you go.
Beautiful.
All right. So this is a jam detector. You can try to use it if you want. I find it more annoying than helpful, but in the beginning, maybe you want to try it. The problem is it's got the sensor to read the sheet. So if the sheet hesitates at all, it will stop. 9 times out of 10, it stops when there's no problem.
And we have the die, and that stop can still go if it's
Nope.
stuck under
If
die.
that stops, the whole machine stops. And then you got to clear everything out to start
Sure.
over.
Are we gonna have the same issue as when someone passed the curtain?
No. No. If this stops the machine, it'll stop it in a safe zone.
Okay, then
Right,
that's
but
safe.
it's flaky. Let's just put it, I don't know if that is a
What is
word
the
you guys
reason,
use.
actually? What is the reason?
The reason for it is, so let's say the sheet hits funny and jams, then it should stop. That's why they designed that. The problem is, if this sheet hits and as it's stripping, it bounces and that sensor flakes, it stops. I always tell people, if you want to turn it on and try it, you know, if it runs and doesn't shut off for no reason, I'll use it. But I've gotten to the point, and for me, it's a little easier for me to do because I'm a demo guy. I don't have to try to stack and do everything all at once like an operator does. So I never use it. But I do have operators that do.
If I got a curled sheet, I don't use it because the curl in the sheet can make it think it's not there. If you get a sheet that's nice and flat, you can try it and it may be just fine.
Just so if it shuts off and you're like, there's nothing wrong, then that's why. Okay. I generally leave it off, but it's up to you. And then on this function, if you turn this on, you can change how many sheets run into a stacker. It's like a batch. So if you wanted to, let's say you need 25 of these in a box per customer. You'd say, give me 25, skip 2. It would run 25 sheets. It would pause the feeder for 2 sheets, and then it would run 25 more. And just keep
So
doing
we would
that.
see a gap in
25
the
pause,
collection.
You'll
25
see a
pause.
gap in your delivery.
That way you'd know how to collect them and stack them.
And we
If
use
that's
that
off,
quite a bit.
it's off.
But you do it enough, most of the time one sheet's enough. You see the gap in that
Yeah.
one sheet. It's
Yep.
like one's enough. And then Does this one have the time that it will delay too? I think ours has, like, you can delay it seconds or something like that.
It's just sheets and gap.
It is the total amount of the one
It's
that
full
we
of
want,
overhead
but
Back.
this is
How
Two
many
is
skips?
missing, like
Oh,
it will
that's your
put a
pause.
miss,
Well,
that way
basically
you would
your
see
pause. It'll pause
in the
2
row
sheets and then feed
there's a
25.
gap.
The machine's still going to be doing all its stuff, but you're just not going to be getting sheets for 2. Then here comes the sheets again.
All right, so now we're set up. We'll go over saving the job here in a minute, but now we can test it. So I generally save this sheet in case I need to make changes. So I will save that one. We're gonna get the catwalks out of the way. We need to put our roller back in there.
Go back. With that guard.
Then we'll bring this forward. Just come nice and slow, because as you go back and forth, sometimes it get out of kilter. Just want to make sure it gets in here okay. It's in there just fine. And it should hit this stop. That'll lock in.
Oh, we're crooked as a dog.
If you look here, yeah, we're way crooked. That's why it went in so slow. A little more. Here, let me unlock it. Probably make it a little easier on you. There we go. Yeah, that ain't bad. So if you look through there, that's pretty straight. And that's actually a little close for my taste.
yeah,
But
closer.
well, and it don't have to be perfectly straight, but you want it to be fairly straight. But this tells it where to stop, right? So what I'm saying, for me, this gap isn't big enough.
Yeah, I like that one.
So
Are you locked in?
nope.
Well, we got a bigger gap now. It's about a 1/4 inch now.
Yeah, because it did move some. But this has got that
Oh, the
pins on it. It's got to come back. For me.
what the hell?
No, it usually. Oh, you know what? I wonder. You got a piece of paper?
It's not flat.
I'm just making sure it's not too
Stop.
heavy there. Yeah, it's all right. I don't know what it's caught on.
You mean
It
that
shouldn't.
gap is not enough?
No, not really.
Okay, we can adjust it from here, don't we?
Yes, but we need to move it back to do that, and for some reason it doesn't want to roll backwards. I don't know what is holding us up. Is that real?
Yep.
I shifted it that way just the scopes and it straightened
I
up.
just wonder if this trough is catching.
Well, let's slide it all the way back out. Because I had questions. All right, close those 2 doors. Close this door there. I noticed this one. Something probably hit this catwalk and slid it, and that may be what's messing with it. I'm wondering if they bumped it with the thing.
You mean it's been moved?
I'm wondering if they bumped it with that thing somewhere and got it